probably 10 other reasons why that property is being evaluated, and none of those reasons have to do with it actually going to sell on the open market.
They do complete a pre-foreclosure BPO, so they'll do it probably at 60 days delinquent, and then they'll do it prior to the sale date as well to set their sale value. I will state that unequivocally, every single BPO that's done is done for a purpose.
Okay.
And so therefore the value that's put on that paper has to be as accurate as possible. And I will say that when that loan becomes an REO, and now the loan is history, it is simply an owned asset, that asset manager opens the file and looks at the previous BPOs, who has completed those BPOs, and what the value trends have been, again, going back to neat, complete, accurate, on time, which agent stands out in that folder. I can guarantee you that's how Condor Capital selects their listing agents.
Well, so
as an example, and we do that as well. We look through our history of BPO. We look through and select our listing agents based upon the BPO relationships that we have. And it's important to ask. Ask the question: if I do a BPO for you, does that put me in line for REO? And that's an important question to ask when signing up with these different companies that I've mentioned.
So that won't, put them in a negative light by asking that question.
No, because we know, asset management companies know, technology companies know. I know Depot Point knows that agents do BPOs to get listings. Whether again, going back to if I'm a resale agent in a tract home area and I get 12 different requests for people that have been relocated because Boeing is shutting down their plant and moving it to a different area, I'm going to give 12 very specific professional opinions of value. But I could be up against 3 different agents. So again, how is my work on 1 to 2 pages of forms going to stand out against the competition? Well, I'm not saying that the property is nice. I'm telling you what the details of the property include and why I'm putting a specific value on the property, why these particular listings or solds have been selected to determine the value of the property to sell it for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time.
Well, it's pretty simple, isn't it?
It is. It is. But it's difficult. It's challenging. And agents have absolutely burned out, and respectfully so, doing a lot of broker price opinions. And again, comparing that through a diversification, if my marketplace as a real estate agent is to market probate attorneys or the trust attorneys, sometimes hey, probate attorney, I've done 12 BPOs for you, and I never get a listing. And the probate attorney says back, well, I understand. However, in the last 12 cases, the heirs in the estate have known local brokers, and they've gone with their selected, but thank you for your work. Hopefully this doesn't detract you from wanting to do business with us. And he says, okay, Mr. Probate Attorney, maybe I'll stick around and do a couple of more. And then the next 3 or 4 turn into listings.
Right.
It's a good thing you stick around. So but it's also a business decision, Eric. It could be the farm. If I go into a farm area and I'm competing against 3 different agents and I lose the next 12 presentations, I've done 12 BPOs and I haven't gotten a listing. It's a business decision that the broker has to make, that the agent has to make, how they spend their time.
Right.
And I go back to diversification is the key to a real estate agent, especially in a market that has been declining the past few years. Diversification is key. So again, keeping your farm, it's a different farm. It's a business model that you have to choose and have a passion for.
Let's talk about some of the technical aspects of the BPO. When an agent does a BPO and he gets the asset, in this case, the price is higher than the BPO. What's going on there?
Pricing strategies are determined many different ways. Again, in the opening, we talked that the seller, the owner of the asset, wants to get it sold, and that's the job at hand. However, each seller is going to go about it differently. Well, some sellers may say, I'm going to have a BPO from the listing agent. I'm going to have an appraisal. And in some cases, they get 2 or 3 BPOs and no appraisal. Sometimes they get 2 appraisals and 1 BPO. Different strategies. Some say, well, I don't, thanks, Mr. Agent, for submitting a BPO. I list it 5%, 10%, 20% above appraised value. That's where you have to be ready to go to work. Your BPO has to document accurately why the property is worth what you say it's worth, why it will sell for what you say it's going to sell, why your listing strategy, as is or repaired, is the best strategy for the seller. And you have to be prepared for reconciliation. Mr. Seller, I'm a first-time listing agent with you. However, as an area expert on Main Street in my town, this is why I feel that my opinion of value is going to be prepared, is going to sell us that. Sell the property faster. So photos, bids, property comps, be ready and prepared to write a paper documenting why your value is accurate.
So if after they go through that kind of detail to really support what they feel the property will sell at, and the asset management company still mandates that it's listed at a price above that, is it better for the listing agent to refuse the assignment than to try to sell something that will probably not sell and impact his days on market and his overall reputation?
Sure, and that's a business decision that the listing agent has to make. That listing agent in the field, again, going back to whether it's the Smiths that are selling their personal residence, or they're selling this is a listing with an REO company, or it's a probate. You have to make a business decision whether you're going to take that listing or not. And that's something I cannot determine. That's a business decision for them, because you're correct. They could say, well, the property's going to sell for $100,000 and the listing is at $130,000 with competition all around at 105.
Right.
And I can have the best reconciliation in the world,
right?
But my key performance indicators are going to be skewed,
right?
Especially time on the market,
right?
So again, it's your communication and your relationship with the asset manager, documenting that.
Do you think it would impact their relationship if they refuse an assignment where there is not agreement on BPO and price?
I don't know how that answer.
It just depends on who they're working with. Well, that's interesting.
Ask JK that answer. That question as well.
I would do that. I would definitely ask JK because it is a problem where the BPOs, the prices are not being reflected, the values are not being reflected in the actual price at market. And what is an agent to do? And then here's the irony. So that it sits for 60, 90 days, and then the asset management calls and says, well, you haven't sold it, so we're going to pull it, or we're going to take it to auction. Now, is that your process too? How long do you give agents to sell the property?
Again, we're not the owner of the property, so it depends on the seller.
Okay.
And each seller really, truly is different. Some of our customers require us to make changes after a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Some of our customers pull properties and move to auction. Some of our properties are put into a bulk and sold.
I see.
So, again, we get paid when the agent gets paid.
Right.
Eric. So we focused, and our expectation is to hire the most qualified agent for that property in the local area.
Right.
Sell it as quickly as we can so that we can continue to grow our opportunity with that seller.
Sure. Well, it sounds to me then that you feel an equal burden that the agent feels, that they provide a great price and they sell that property quickly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We partner with that agent, and the agent selection is extremely important to us. So that's why we actively seek the best qualified agents in the local area that we can.
Let's jump down to the last two bullets here real quickly. Where to invest your time and money. It is a costly proposition, isn't it, to be an REO agent? And speak to that investment you're talking about as far as time and money.
Absolutely. To become a little personal, and I don't want this to dissuade anyone interested in expanding their business, but I can tell you in 1990, I only sold one REO. After 6 months of farming, sold one. It wasn't even an REO. I sold one house, period. I think it was a good 12 to 14 months before I got my first listing opportunity.
Wow.
I can tell you, I can visualize it was one Pamlico, Irvine, California, 92620. I could drive you there today. It was 20-some years ago, Eric, and it burns because I worked so hard. I knew that I was going to achieve it.
Right.
I had the vision. I was persistent. It paid off, and I'm telling you, it gives me chills today. I can tell you where I was when I received that call and I was told yes. It's the greatest feeling in the world, isn't it? When and you're in a slump, you feel you're in a slump, you're down, you're ready to walk, and boom, you get that one opportunity, and you're you'll spit polish that thing like no other, man. You almost don't want it to sell. It's like, no, come on, let's go. But it's important to stay focused and be persistent, because it's very, very difficult, and that's why I go back to the words diversification. Be diversified in your business.
Right.
It's expensive because we as real estate agents are not paid until the property is closed.
Right.
We can't get paid, we can't close the property until we have a listing inventory. So there's a cost waiting for the property to close. There's a cost because Equator, ResNet, Depot Point, those are for-cost organizations to join and to be part of. Going to REO Expo conferences and the 5-star conferences, REO Mac, MBA, those are expensive to attend. So it's just like starting any farm. It's having a business plan. I was very fortunate to partner with someone to become familiar with the terms, familiar with the approach, familiar with the industry, and so that was a benefit and potential opportunity for people listening today to partner with someone that's looking not to share their business, but to grow their expand what they currently have by you diligently taking on some of their extra business that they can bring on. So it's a good way to learn it, but it's a cost because you're marketing yourself.
Right.
You're marketing yourself, and anytime you do that, it's a business plan that has to take place.
So if you're marketing yourself, you have to also educate yourself, right? So there's a cost of just getting the education, the certifications, the knowledge to be effective in the business, and then
absolutely attending ARIA, NAREP, and your wonderful organization, Eric, at OCREB. Is that correct? REB?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Orange County.
Yeah. Okay. All these letters, Eric. I apologize. LREV, OCREB. So we're good. But and so it's very important that the agents listening today, and not only that, then going to the last bullet. Once you receive listings, we as asset management companies ask you to potentially hire a local gardener, trash out contractor, paint, carpet, utilities, and these get expensive. I was talking to our controller this morning. She indicated it's about a $500 per property outlay for up to 60 days. So if you have